Hi, everyone. We're going to give people a couple of minutes to join. We will start shortly. Great. I think we're going to make a start. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. I am Federica Saletta, Client Services Manager, and today I'm joined by Will Ulstein, Commercial Director. The webinar today is how to test creatives, concepts, and campaigns with YouGov Direct. This is the second masterclass of our new webinar series that we launched last month. If you missed last month's webinar, make sure that you reach out to your YouGov Direct contact to get hold of the recording. The session today is going to start off with some slides to take you through the templates that we launched. We're then going to jump into the tool and take you through how to set up a survey and then what the results will look like. And then we have some time at the end for questions. So do make sure that you drop questions into the chat as we go along with any doubts that you have, and we can take those at the end together. So as a recap, for those of you who worked with us before, or those of you who have no idea what YouGov Direct is and are just joining in fresh, YouGov Direct is YouGov's latest innovation. It's a really exciting tool. It's a 24/7 kind of 360s self-serve audience insights platform. What that allows you to do is to conduct quality research in the most fastest and most cost-effective tool that we have available at the moment and that's available on the market. What this allows you to do is you have access to real consumer opinion all the time and get great kind of consumer research and understand industry trends. The reasons why YouGov Direct clients love working with us are these three main reasons. The first one is speed. YouGov Direct delivers results and quality research with incredible speed. We guarantee results within 24 hours, even with niche audiences, but we can also deliver those with our expert service within 60 minutes. So incredible speed to keep you agile when you're working to really tight deadlines. The second reason why clients love working with us is the incredible value that the tool offers. So what we've done is we've removed the people costs from traditional research, and we've given those cost savings back to you as clients, which is kind of a great benefit of self-serve, which gives incredible value for money. The second point kind of within value is actually you have access to over 200 personal data points that we've already collected on all of our members. This is great because we automatically join these as standard with all of your data sets with any research that you're running on YouGov Direct, which again really elevates the value that you get on the tool, as not only do you get responses to your questions, but you also get this kind of breadth of personal data. Finally, the outcomes. This is really unique to YouGov Direct. And it's going a step further in terms of research. It's connecting with a real action that you're stimulating when you show respondents or members content, a concept, kind of anything that you're looking to ask for them and how that's stimulating with a real action. So more specifically on the templates, the reason why YouGov Direct is such a good fit to test concepts and creatives and campaigns is first and foremost rapid results. So, you come out of a meeting, you want to test something real time, potentially you don't have the time or the resource to set that up. With our pre-written, pre-scripted, pre-uploaded templates, all that you need to do is update that real time and launch that within minutes. You can then, once that's launched, see those results coming in live, and you can get full results, as I mentioned before, within as fast as 60 minutes, which keeps you really agile, but still kind of have amazing quality of data. The second thing is retargeting capabilities. So with the tool, with the templates, but also with the tool in general, you can retarget audiences and send them follow-up questions to your surveys. So this is especially relevant with the campaign testing template, where you start off by setting a baseline with the pre-wave, and then with the post-wave, you're retargeting the same people to see how your campaign is immediately and kind of directly impacting some of those KPIs. And then finally, the competitive benchmarking. This really sets us aside because what this allows you to do is not only get great results with the preset templates that our researchers have put together, but also you can benchmark yourself and your performance of your campaign or concept or creatives directly with your sectors to see how you are performing kind of over time, or how you're performing within your key competitors. So what have we built? Actually, we've built 3 different templates that you can leverage. The first one is creative testing. With creative testing, this is really useful when you're looking to test different routes of the creative, when you're working on the creative process. So what this allows you to do is with the preset questions, which include things like likability of the asset, attributes linked to that asset, understanding of the creative, relevance to consumers, as well as all the way down to purchase intention, you're able to directly understand how your creative is influencing your audience. And the creative testing is actually the one we're going to go through in the demo in a second. The second one that we put together is concept testing. So this is more for our consumer brands clients because it covers things like packaging and pricing and putting things on shelves. But this is really great to test how consumers feel about your concept or your new product before you're going to launch it. So again, with the preset questions, you can ask things around purchase frequency, you can ask about value for money, you can ask about whether your new product is going to replace any of the other products that these consumers or your target audience are currently using, as well as how they perceive the quality of this product. The final template that we have that I alluded to earlier is the campaign testing template. So this one is actually formed by 2 different surveys. The first one you can send out just to set a baseline. So this allows you to understand KPIs or kind of key metrics that you're looking to test before your consumers or your target audience is ever exposed to your new creative or campaign that you're going to launch. Then with the second one, with our recontact capabilities that I just talked about, you're able to contact the same people, show them a creative, and then monitor that performance and see whether that's shifted metrics in any way. These are things that cover kind of things specific to the creative, but also all the way down to purchase consideration, ad recall, any word of mouth, or any action that they've taken as a result of seeing your campaign live, potentially on TV, all the way down to message takeout as well. The key thing that I mentioned earlier that we are really excited about is with each of these templates, you can actually add a call to action at the end. So what does that mean? A call to action is a button that you can add at the end of each one of your surveys. And from a respondent perspective, you finish taking a survey, you're paid to having taken that survey, and you see kind of a button in the middle of the screen that can drive you to learn more about what you've just been exposed to. So that can be something like you've shown them a creative and you want to drive them to the new campaign page. With the concept test, potentially you can add a discount code because you're about to launch the product potentially next week. You have an e-commerce site, put that discount code on and drive consumers to buy your product immediately. And finally, with the campaign testing as well, you're able to drive them to any product pages as well. I'll take you through a couple of examples in a second, but for example, one of the automotive clients that we work with drove people to the product page for the campaign that they were testing with us. And we actually saw that YouGov Direct respondents even went down to book a test drive for that new car where they were just launching the TV campaign. This is really amazing, especially for marketers when you're looking to connect market research and marketing effectiveness, because you're looking at how your creative or concept are stimulating real interest all the way down to an action. So throughout the survey, you'll be kind of asking people for their purchase consideration or purchase intention. With the call to action, again, you can see a real action, and this is really, really powerful. Availability at the moment, we as YouGov Direct as a product, we are available in 7 markets globally. So across different continents, we're available in the UK, US, Canada in 2 languages, Singapore, Australia, France, and Germany. And what that goes down to is we're actually available in 3 languages. As you can imagine, it's English, French, and German. We also have really exciting expansion plans over the next 12 months. So as we're launching new markets where YouGov Direct will be available, we'll also be launching the relevant templates in those markets as well and getting those translated in those languages. In terms of costs, as with anything YouGov Direct, you only pay for the responses that you get on the survey you have set up. So what I mean by that is there's no additional fee to using the templates. The template, as I said, is a pre-written, pre-scripted, pre-uploaded survey that all you need to do really is personalize with your campaign or your creative or your concept, add your brand lists, personalize with any kind of key messages that you want to test, and you're ready to go. I'll also show you in a second on the tool how you're able to change the cost and kind of in terms of what you want to spend for that test and how that pricing is calculated as well. It's really transparent on the tool. In terms of results and output, I'll take you through that in a second as well. But just as a note, what we do offer as part of our client delivery team and offering is you can actually buy a templated dashboard if you're using any one of our templates. And I'll show you what that looks like in a second with a case study that we did with Deliveroo. You can also add an add-on to your dashboard of benchmarks, as I mentioned before, and I'll show you in a second. What this means is this is kind of your key standardized metrics that you're testing as you're using that template against your sector and then against all sectors to see how you're performing across all 3. And then finally, we also offer coding of brand lists. So as you'll see, this is things like unprompted awareness, where you ask kind of which of the following kind of drinks brands are you aware of, for example. We are able to code those brand lists for a fee as part of our client delivery team. So a couple of case studies in terms of clients that have used templates with us. The first one is with Voxel. So Voxel or Opel, depending on where you're coming in from today, is part of the wider Stellantis group. The Stellantis group is the one that owns Peugeot as well. It owns Fiat most recently with the merger as well. Under specifically the Voxel brand, what we have been doing with them over the last couple of years is they actually test all of their TV ads with us across all of their TV campaigns before they launch on TV. So they do quite a lot of kind of more qualitative testing after the campaign has come off of TV. But what they really need to do in the marketing communications team is go back to their key stakeholders and senior management and tell them immediately how the campaign is performing. So what they do is they use the same template, they just update it with their campaign, with their competitor list for that model and that segment, and then they launch it. And what we've seen, this was the example that I was talking about before, is we've seen really engaged respondents who are clicking through all the way down to looking at their product pages, all the way down to booking a test drive. As a business, what they have seen is they've actually, because they test all of their ads with us across the different models, they've actually, number one, created model-specific benchmarks so that then they can work and go back to their creative and media agency and tell them, okay, this Corsa ad that we ran 6 months ago pulled on the emotional strings of the respondents. But then the one that we're using at the moment potentially is funnier. And then what we want to do with our next campaign is we actually want to make that a little bit more tactical, and they can see based on the results that they get, which way they can position that as well going forward. The next case study that we have is using our concept testing template. So with Samsons, which for those of you who don't know, because potentially you're coming in from outside the UK, Samsons is a vinegar brand that gets put on chips predominantly in the UK under the Miscanuro group of food brands. So what Samsons did was they, at the end of December, actually needed to make a decision in terms of a new product that they're looking to launch that their innovation team had kind of put forward. They, along with their senior stakeholders, needed to make a decision on the first working day of January. So what they did is, using the template, they kind of launched that template at the end of December to understand how consumers felt about the different bottle formats and sizes that they were speaking to their suppliers about. That was 6 different kind of formats. They were then asking consumers around usage occasions. They were asking them about how they felt about the pricing points that they were setting it as, expectations about where they would see it on the shelf, the different flavors and variants that they were looking to launch. And then how they were going to frame their marketing communications at launch as well. So again, working on that 24/7, 360 kind of functionality of the tool to be able to get results in consumer opinion at any point to make those strategic decisions. And finally, we work with quite a lot of charities actually on YouGov Direct. Again, just because they find that value piece is key for them. They have limited funds. And so they like to kind of leverage the amazing value that they get on the tool. With Friends of the Earth, they tested fundraising proposition with us, and we actually have the fundraising team working with us on a regular basis to test the direction of their fundraising propositions. So that what they have done is to test the propositions at different points of the development process. So at the beginning, in terms of the different routes that they wanted to take with a specific proposition, with their key audience that they were looking to target, all the way down to when they had polished the messaging for that proposition, which messaging was going to drive people to participate and to donate as well. At this point, I am going to switch over to our tool, and we're going to do a little demo of how easy and fast it is to personalize your templates. I can see there's some questions coming in, so please keep sending them through. If you're having any doubts on anything that I'm going through, we're going to take them at the end after I do the demo. So for those of you who don't know or have never seen a YouGov Direct account, this is an example one. And if you start running surveys, this is likely what it would look like. So what you can see here is all of the surveys that you've run in the past. You can see here in the corner, these are all my completed surveys, how much I've spent and so on for each one. And then I have all of my drafts that I'm currently working on. So if you're looking to use templates, what we would do at the moment is we would drop and copy that draft into your account. And then you can go in and edit it, which is what I'm going to do now. So I'm just going to click and use the creative test, which is what I talked about in the slides. For those of you who don't know, it's really, really fast to kind of to build a survey or to update it like I'm doing now. So I'm going to keep it in the UK because this is where I'm sending it. I'm going to keep it to a normal service because I'm happy with getting results back in 24 hours. And in our audience builder, because I would like nationally representative results, I'm actually not going to touch anything here. And then if we keep scrolling down, as you can see, this is the pre-written survey. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to edit this real time. So on the edit, this is just a placeholder ad. What I'm actually going to do is upload Deliveroo's latest ad, because this is from a case study that we did a few months ago. So as that's processing, I'm going to go through and show you the different questions that we have. So the first one is an open question asking about unprompted recall. Next, this is where we're going to be inputting our brand list. So with key competitors, I'm going to put Deliveroo. Key competitors specifically in the UK, I would say are Uber Eats, as well as Just Eat. I would say these are their major competitors. And then with the bins that we see here on the side, I'm going to get rid of all of the other answer options since these were just placeholders. I'm happy with them clicking not sure other if they're not sure about this. And then we're going to randomize these answer options as well so that they are scrambled when a respondent takes them. If we keep going, I'm going to replace everything that says brand with Deliveroo. I'm going to copy this to make this faster for myself. The next things that I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep adding in Deliveroo where it says brand. I'm going to copy this, hopefully do that again. And then I'm just going to take you through the different questions that we have. So here we're asking about the core messages of the ad for Deliveroo in the ad. Next, we're going to test. We have a nice 5-point scale here in terms of likability. And here we're going to ask respondents in detail what they specifically liked or did not like about Deliveroo and the ad that they just saw. Here is where we're going to ask about attributes, and this is a ready kind of scripted list of attributes that we like to standardize. At the bottom, you do have the chance to add custom attributes. I'm actually going to remove it here because I don't think it's relevant for me. And then as we keep going, we now are looking at specific statements that we want to test. And how kind of the Deliveroo and the ad has performed in here with our standard 5-point scale. So for example, here we have this advertisement suits Deliveroo well. We have the messages of this ad are easy to understand. I'm just going to keep updating this as we go. Relevance, also really important for a lot of different clients. Enjoyment of watching the ad. Wouldn't pay much attention to this if I saw it on TV. So let's say, for example, you are not testing a TV ad. What you would do is if we go into the right corner with the bin, we can actually get rid of this. So with this ad fits well with Deliveroo is how we want to edit this. So as you can see, I'm going along here, just whatever is capitalized is the things that I'm going to want to be editing. And here we're looking at the statement in terms of it's believable. Again, potentially this wasn't on TV, so I'm just going to get rid of this question. As you can see, I'm able to kind of delete and play around with the survey. Here it's on purchase intention, and we've got our 5-point scale again that's already populated for us. And then finally, we have more positive or negative towards the Deliveroo brand, another 5-point scale that we use as standard. Right here at the bottom, we've got our different types of questions that you're able to add. So again, to reiterate, with the templates, it's a pre-written survey, but what you can do is you can actually add questions right at the bottom. If you want to ask respondents any kind of follow-up questions or anything that you don't think has been covered in the template that's kind of specific to your brand or specific to your ad. The next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to add a URL. So I'm just going to type in Deliveroo. Here we go. I'm going to just open their website. And then here, I'm just going to copy the link, drop that in here. And then we can add a call to action copy. So for example, we can say order food now. We can drive people to that page and they can kind of enter their postcode and order if they like. With the view preview section, we're actually able to view the survey real time as if we were a respondent. And this is really useful if you just want to check that the flow makes sense, that you're happy with how your creatives are coming up. And then finally, this is around the pricing. So again, as I talked about earlier, the pricing is really transparent and it will tell you how much you're spending per response. That's our pricing model based on the survey that you've just put together. So here, as you can see, I have a 20-question survey or up to 20 questions within kind of that bracket because our pricing goes in brackets. And then I've uploaded a video. So that's that cost for one response. And I know that the template kind of sets a benchmark at 1,000 responses, which is what we normally recommend, but actually I'd like to have it a bit bigger. So I'm just going to put in 2,000 responses and it would cost me, for example, £2,960 if I am in the UK and paying, for example, with a UK credit card. The other thing that you can do is you can even kind of go in and edit this and put in £2,000. It will give you the number of responses with that budget. So that's how you would set up the template and personalize the template. Again, if you have any questions, keep dropping them into the chat. We're going to pick them up in a second. In terms of results, you have results in a few different ways. I'm just going to go into an example data set that I ran a few weeks ago, which is this hand sanitizer pack test. So with YouGov Direct, for those of you who don't know, you are able to access results in 3 different ways. The first one is results real time as soon as you launch your survey. And as soon as you launch your survey, it looks something like this. You have the results feeding in live and you can see top line results. Once that survey has closed, you can then dig deeper into the results in 2 more ways. So if you click on download raw responses, this downloads an Excel file and it has fully row level data and raw data. And this is used to plug into anything like SPSS if you or your team are doing any modeling. If you click on to analyze my results, this actually takes you into YouGov Crunch, which is our YouGov-wide analytics tool. So if we click onto that, this is the Deliveroo case study that we did, as I mentioned a few months ago, that I wanted to show you today using the template. So for those of you who've never seen Crunch before, on the left, you'll be able to see all of the questions that you ran in the template. And if we scroll all the way down, this is the 200 personal data points that I talked about at the beginning that you have access to as standard with all of your surveys. And what this is useful for is to create cross breaks, to filter the information with any personal data, and so on. And if you need kind of training or anything like that, just reach out to your YouGov Direct contact and we'd be really happy to give you kind of further Crunch training. So the 3 different types of output that we talked about earlier. The first one was on the coded brand list. So as you can see here, if you wanted to buy for our client delivery team to code the brand list, you would be able to see that here. And we would drop that into your data set and you would kind of have all of those open text responses coded and grouped here. In terms of the dashboard, this is the other thing that I mentioned earlier. You can buy a dashboard that would look something like this. So you would be able to see ad likability for your specific ad that you tested. You can see the top message takeaways. You can have a look at the key attributes as well as the impact on the brand in really nice visual format. And if you wanted to expand, potentially you're presenting this to your team or you've sent this on to your team and you wanted to expand and look at what all of the attributes were, for example, you can just double click on any of these graphs and it expands. You can look at the whole graph, for example. If we go back into the dashboard and we look at the benchmarks tab, this is what I was talking about earlier. So with each one of the key metrics that are the standard metrics that we use on the template, you can have a look at your own results compared to your own sector, compared to all sectors. And as we scroll down, we can see how the Deliveroo ad from earlier this year is performing against its sectors on each of these key metrics. As you can see, it's performing better on some metrics than others against its sectors and all sectors. So I'm now going to switch back and take some questions with Will. Will, have you seen any interesting questions so far from our participants?
Yeah, absolutely. Good afternoon, everyone. Fedi, great presentation. Thank you very much. Some really interesting questions coming in. Please do keep them coming in via the chat and we'll get through as many of them as we possibly can. One that's been asked a couple of times now, will a recording of the presentation be available afterwards? Absolutely, yes, it will, and we'll circulate the deck. We'll try and get that out tomorrow, but it might be early next week. Let me come around to sort of some of the more specific ones. One in from Sadie. How many minimum respondents do you recommend for useful data? That's a really interesting one. And from a research point of view, what you'll find is the YouGov Direct platform is exceedingly good value. If you go into the tool and look at any of the pricing following the templates, you'll actually be, I think you'll be very surprised about just what good value it is. The tool, of course, will allow you to set either the budget or the number of people that you want to survey. But to answer your question directly, there is no one single answer in terms of how many people should you be surveying. The reason for that is it obviously depends on how you would like to cut the data. Do you want to look at specific subgroups? For example, people with a certain type of income, people who live in a certain region of the United Kingdom, etc. But if you're looking at it at a very high level, so looking at it in terms of who has responded in total, we would recommend a sample size of a minimum of around 100 people. Fedi, I've actually flagged a couple of questions for you in the chat, but I'll answer another one in from Duncan. How confidential is the service, and are respondents under an NDA type agreement? The short answer to that is no, they are not under an NDA agreement, and even if they were, it would be relatively unenforceable when it comes to protecting that. Panelists or members of YouGov Direct are well aware that we share, in some cases, ideas or concepts that have not gone to market yet, or brands testing various types of communication in response maybe to a breaking news article. The service is relatively confidential. There is always, however, the potential chance that anything that you use on any survey tool, whether that be YouGov or elsewhere in the marketplace, there is always a potential for leakage into the public domain. So it's worth noting that. Fedi, there's a couple of questions that I flagged for you. Do you want to take those?
Amazing, yeah, thank you, Will. So the first question that we have is, how flexible are the templates? Do you have to ask every question, or can I add my own questions as well? So what I was showing you on the tool, that's the, as I said, the preset and pre-uploaded template. The templates are completely flexible, so you're able to pull some of the questions, you're able to remove them. You don't need to ask every question if it's not relevant to you. As I talked about, for example, if your creative is not on TV, the questions around TV and having respondents having seen on TV are not relevant. You're very welcome to remove those. And you can absolutely add your own questions at the end. So as I showed you with the plus signs right at the bottom, you're able to add on additional questions at the end that potentially we haven't covered in the template, and you think those would be useful for you. What some of our other clients do as well is we drop the templates into their account and they only use 1 or 2 questions because they think that those are the most relevant for them. They just want to see what a standard agreement scale looks, for example, or a likability scale looks like, and they're very happy to just use those. So the templates are just for you to kind of base off of kind of what your needs are.
Fantastic. Federica, there's another one there from Sue. I appreciate this is a self-service solution and you make it look really easy. But what support or training do you offer us novices to get us started?
Amazing, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we have a dedicated client support team, which will be able to support you every step of the way, especially as you're starting out. I appreciate, not everyone is comfortable using a self-serve solution. So we offer training, we offer kind of hands-on support. If you would like to run any templates or any surveys for that matter, in a self-service manner, we are there every step of the way. If you do get flustered and you would like for us at any point, potentially your time poor that day, or for any other reason, and you need for us to rework or upload or launch questions, we also offer a with our client delivery team, we offer managed service for an additional fee, which you can leverage at any time.
Fantastic. Federica, there's 2 questions in from Daniel. If I could ask you to take the second one around results and dashboards, I think maybe even bring up a visual to help with that. I'll take Daniel's first one though. Are there templates for other types of communication to add campaigns? For example, could we use this to see where people would click on a visual of a web page or how they feel about a particular concept that maybe isn't visualized as an ad campaign? And are there different pre-built templates for these scenarios? So if I take that one first, Daniel, I'll answer that in a simple way. The short answer is no and yes. The no bit is we don't actually support heat map type questions at the moment. So, where people would click on a visual, we can always ask questions around that. But if you're looking at where people would respond and where people would click, for example, on a certain web page, then no, we don't have that. But these templates, and in particular the creative template, has been used for a wide range of creative stimulus, whether that be video, as Federica demonstrated with the Deliveroo. We've had print and even outdoor or out of home ads, and even sort of storyboard concepts that we've tested as a result of this. All of those will fit into the templates. No, it doesn't have to be a fully production quality TV ad that we're using for stimulus. Freddie, can I ask you to answer that second one from Daniel about results and dashboards, please?
Yeah, absolutely. The question is, did I hear you say that the results dashboard with the charts is an additional paid for feature? Does that come with the tool as standard with an account? So the access to the Crunch tool, which is what I took you through earlier, is completely part of the package if you run YouGov Direct surveys at any time. So that's access to this, which is, it covers things around your overall results, your top line results, as I said, but then with any of this personal information, so the 200 personal data points, all of this is kind of included in the package. You can create filters, you can create cross breaks, you can create tables and graphs and charts. What is not part of the package when you run templates or surveys is the dashboard that I showed you. So this dashboard is here for an additional fee, which in the UK is £950. And then you can add on benchmarks as well for an additional £500. So these are kind of add-ons which our client delivery team can put together for you for an additional fee.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Federica. I think there's one more question, maybe two. This one, I can't remember who it came in from. Does the user always see what organization is surveying them?
A great question. So the short answer is no. If we go back into our YouGov Direct survey tool, and we go into here, you can actually edit that yourself. So if we scroll down here where it says message to audience members, this is the respondents that are taking your survey. And with the pencil here, you're actually able to edit the push notification that a respondent receives on their app or on their email when they're kind of invited to participate in your survey. So unless you have kind of explicitly told them right at the beginning, obviously it becomes obvious when you show, the TV ad or the creative, they wouldn't know. So from here, you can say, for example, here, I'm going to put a delivery brand, food delivery brand, let's be specific. And I can absolutely leave it as that. You can make it more specific if you like, but most of our clients leave it as kind of a sector level.
Fantastic. I think there's one final question in from Sadie, again, coming back to those costs. Federica, are those costs that you described add-ons per survey or per year?
All of those add-on costs are per survey. So for every single survey, if you would like an add-on dashboard or add-on benchmarks, that is per survey.
Fantastic. But sounds like there's possibly a conversation to be had there. I'm very happy to have an offline conversation where we can actually take you through exactly what your needs are and how we can build to those. I think that was it from the questions. So Federica, thank you very much. Thank you very much to everyone for those wonderful questions. I'm going to sign off and I'll leave Federica to say goodbye.
Thank you, Will, and thank you everyone else for joining us today. If you have any additional questions, reach out to both me and Will on these email addresses that you have on the screen or your local YouGov Direct contact, and we'll be able to help you if you want to have a conversation offline. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining.